how you don't want to hit your irons, and the bad thing you want to stay away from. We sort of see three things with the trail arm specifically.
Yep.
The bad would be the right arm straightening too much too soon.
Yep.
The right elbow would be too far back away from the target. And the right wrist would be thrown or released.
Yep.
Arm straight, elbow back, right wrist thrown would be the poor version.
Correct.
Now the opposite of that then would by definition be the good things, right? We see in terms of how we want to deliver it would be the right arm being bent.
And the elbows forward.
Elbows forward. And then the wrist is still loaded or
Yep.
bent back, if
Yep.
you will. So if I want to load in the correct downswing movements,
We want to get it built right.
get it built right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it
half swing.
makes it easier if I'm in a better position here.
Yep.
Elbows closer. Back of, I feel that the back of my left hand and right palm are towards the camera a little bit.
And
right
then-
wrist is bent back.
And the sweet spots to the right side of the shaft.
Yeah.
And then from there.
Which again, that means this,
Yep.
right? This way, for those maybe don't know what that is.
And then from there, you're just turning your shoulders. You're turning your shoulders while keeping those alignments locked in to get the bottom of the swing more forward.
Load it correctly, feel a little bit more as I come down. Yeah, it felt
Perfect.
great. Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about the hanger training aid. I absolutely love this. I firmly believe that this is good for every single golfer. This hanger here creates and controls what I think is the most important part of the swing, which is the wrist angle. It snaps right on. It takes me probably 30 seconds to put on. I can put it right in my golf bag, and best of all is you can hit balls with it. You can actually hit balls with it. So I love this hanger training aids. Look at when I do that well, how that sits on my forearm. Now watch when I cut my wrist, how that comes off. Immediate feedback for where my wrist angle's at. No one that can have too flat of a left wrist. One of the few things that all good ball strikers have, we're trying to have. Flat left wrist, right? Super easy to use, incredible immediate feedback with the coupon code GogornoGolf.com. You're gonna absolutely love it. We'll put all the details down in the description down below. All right, Steve, so in today's video, we're talking about a move that could really change how someone hits their irons, really change their whole golf swing. Now, this comes from an Instagram video that I saw Steve do of one of the people he was coaching that was working with, really how to lock in and load the angles during the downswing. Now, Steve and I coach together both in person and online, and one of the things I see in a lot of our videos is teaching people how to really load the shaft in transition and get the club to impact appropriately. Regardless of golf swing styles, being able to do these moves are really a non-negotiable if you want to hit the ball solid, right? That's the general idea.
I definitely would agree there.
You got to get the impact stuff good.
Yep.
Steve, let me have you move right up there for 1 second.
Yeah.
So to keep this simple, one of the things that we see with a lot of the members that we work with, if we were to look at the bad version and then we'll do the good version and we'll show you how to feel this and do the drills, how you don't want to hit your irons and the bad thing you want to stay away from. We sort of see three things with the trail arm specifically.
Yep.
The bad would be the right arm straightening too much too soon.
Yep.
The right elbow would be too far back away from the target. And the right wrist would be thrown or released.
Yep.
Arm straight, elbow back, right wrist thrown would be the poor version.
Correct.
Bad contact, bad dynamic loft, face control.
Yeah, no ball speed, lack of distance.
Nothing good.
Correct, nothing good.
Now the opposite of that then would by definition be the good things, right? We see in terms of how we want to deliver it would be the right arm being bent.
And the elbows forward.
Elbows forward, and then the wrist is still loaded or
Yep.
bent back, if
Yep.
you will. And so I think step one is like, hey, let's make sure we understand that's what we're trying to do on the way down so that we can what? You know, get to impact with some shaft lean,
Move
hit
the
the
low
ball.
point forward.
Yeah, ball first, ground second, compress it,
Yep.
distance, everything. The question then becomes, okay, I get that. I get I'm supposed to do that. How do I do this? What am I supposed to feel? How do I fix it? And this is where I'd really like you to guide me through what you did when you were working in that lesson, where you're really locking in those impact feels.
Yep.
And then we could talk through some kind of feels and drills in practice.
Yeah, so do your setup. And the way that I would start to kind of build this is do like a half backswing where your left arm is parallel to the ground, and we'd have the elbows close to one another. The right wrist would be bent back. The left might be a little bit, might need to bow the left wrist or flatten it a little bit because we're trying to make sure that the face stays closed to the shaft. So when you're looking at that from this down the line view, that the sweet spot would be to the right side of the shaft.
Let's show
right
that
in
this
here.
way. What does that mean if they don't know that, the face close to the shaft?
So you can see it right here, how the sweet spot is slightly to the left side of this shaft right here, close to the shaft. So you'd have open to the shaft, square, and then close to the shaft. We want to make sure that the face angle is always close to the shaft.
Okay, so if you drew that line down the center of the shaft,
yep.
and this is just like me 101, right? Like
yep.
the toe is in front of or to the left of the heel.
You could say that.
Okay.
You could say
That's just
that.
a different way to say the same thing.
Yep.
Close to the shaft. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I don't want to side tangent there, but just in case someone doesn't know what that means there.
So like right here, you have the sweet spot. The sweet spot's to the right side of the shaft. It's close to the shaft. And we're doing that by elbows close, right wrist will be bent back, left would be a little bit flat. So we kind of already have the impact assembled.
Yeah.
And then right from here, you're looking at the ball, the way that we started doing this drill with the student is just from here, just turn through and just tap it. Just hit it 3 feet.
All right, I'm going to reset now that I know I'm going to hit just for a second.
So you're going to go back, left arm parallel to the ground.
Okay.
Elbows, right bent, left flat, face angles closed to the shaft, and then just turn to and touch the ball. Now that was perfect. That's what should happen, like a lower flight, more of a draw, because you're hitting less loft. I would only literally hit it a foot.
Okay, even shorter than
yeah,
that.
Okay. The way that this was constructed was just we're just trying to just tap the ball, having these alignments built in.
Okay, so can I do one or two without a ball, just to feel first? So if I want to load in the correct downswing movements,
we want to get it built right.
Get it built right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So half swing
makes it easier if I'm in a better position here.
Yep.
Elbows closer, and my right wrist, Steve, at this point feels like pretty far bent back.
Yep.
And I'm having a little bit of sensation in terms of how to get the face close to the shaft.
Yep.
I feel a little bit like my right palm and the back of my left hand are going to almost twist a little towards the camera.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
that's closing the face to path. And why do I want to do that compared to it, like if I was this way and the face is open?
Yep.
That we're saying that would like preset me to do some of these pieces to fix it.
Correct.
Okay.
And you're already, when you do it improper, when you have the left cupped, the right not bent back enough, and you have the face angle to the left side of the shaft, and now the face is open to the shaft.
Yeah.
When you start coming down, we can already see how the toe's more behind the heel. This would be the beginning of the wrist cupping, poor impact, and having the face too open to hit with too much loft.
So as to like the why you guys might do some of those poor downswing pieces, really face angle is always king of the hill. If we get the face in a better position, that sets us up to be able to do the
you're building impact at the top. So if we face the here, do it together, right? Okay. So we face the camera up and we push the handle forward, right? See now we have the hands ahead. Where you have the hands ahead and the face would be closed to the shaft, where if we did it poorly, if we casted and we had the left cupped, the right too flat, see how now the face is more open to the shaft and there's a poor impact.
Yeah, got it, okay.
And this picture sometimes is already established on the backswing because the wrists are poor.
So step one of getting a good downswing, get yourself in a good spot.
Correct.
Now, I think some people are going to struggle with just chipping the ball a foot, frankly,
I agree.
Right?
I would agree. That's why we start there, just because you have to coordinate these parts.
So I'm even just from here to start making some little
tiny
what's
motions. Good too is we have this red line here.
Yeah.
So when you're doing this, you're trying to get the divot in front of that red line.
So elbows squeezed together.
Yep.
I feel that the back of my left hand and right palm are towards the camera a little bit.
And
right wrist is bent back.
And the sweet spots to the right side of the shaft.
Yeah.
And then from there.
Which again, that means this,
yep.
right? This way, for those maybe don't know what that is.
And then from there, you're just turning your shoulders. You're turning your shoulders while keeping those alignments locked in to get the bottom of the swing more forward.
Now let's say I do that. Are you okay if I do that without a pause? Do I have to do a pause?
Well, you asked how it was done on that video.
Yeah.
So,
you like to do the pause first?
Well, in that case, yes, just to get the alignments built in and then just tap the ball.
Okay.
Then you work your way out of it. Right, divot was forward.
So even there, like when you say hit a foot or a yard, and for someone practicing, like I probably hit that 80 yards.
Yeah.
So like even just something short of normal.
I get it.
Okay.
We see it all the time.
Yeah, that's hard to do. Now, as I go and I'm getting that with no pause, let's say I did that for to the point where I got that comfortable.
Yep.
I can slowly start to maybe take the pause out, go a little longer, add a little speed. But let's say I do that, Steve, and for whatever reason, I'm not able to just keep them. I know I'm supposed to just keep those alignments, but hey, I get set here and I still start to throw on the way down. Would we go right in then with the player to like, let me start actively feeling those proper things, the arm staying bent, elbow forward, right wrist bent back?
Yeah, you would need to keep adding more in coming down.
Show me what you mean by that.
So you have it built correctly, right here.
Yep.
So it's built correctly, but then sometimes the player, even though it's built right, sometimes they'll straighten the right arm, unhinge the right wrist, and they'll start casting, and that'll get the bottom of the swing behind the ball.
Yep.
Or they'll start thinning, they'll start mishitting the ball. So if you're doing this drill, you'll know that you're doing it poorly if you're not hitting the ball solid.
Yeah,
and you start seeing some of the balls kind of be thin or go out to the right.
And now, Steve, let's say I'm doing that.
And if you needed to do more, what you'd feel is you'd keep feeling more right wrist increase coming down.
Okay.
You feel like your right arm stays bent longer coming down, and you see how the butt of the club is way ahead of the sweet spot right there.
Butt of the club's way ahead of the sweet spot. So if I did it poorly,
they'd be in line.
Okay.
Or the sweet spot would start passing.
Okay, I like that as a
butt
cue.
of the club.
So the butt of the club's way ahead of the sweet spot.
Correct.
And if your normal swing, if their normal swing looks like this, because even when you just did that to me, that felt like, man, I'm really loading it, right?
Yeah.
But they're going to need to feel that far just to make it look normal.
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I'm going here like this. I load it correctly. I'm feeling the right arm increasing bend even a little.
Yep.
The right wrist increasing bend a little bit.
Yep.
And the butt of the club is way forward of the club head, and I'm turning my shoulders through.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm increasing, like we said when we started this video, bad. Arm straight, elbow back, right wrist thrown.
Correct.
Good. Arm bent, elbow forward, right wrist bent back.
Yep.
You would feel 1, 2, or 3 of those good ones.
Yep.
More exaggerated to start down.
And as you're doing it, the key here is always making sure that you're having that face closed relative to the shaft, or like you said too, the toe ahead of the heel as you're coming down. Because you could do these alignments, but you could have the face open and you could still start squirting these balls out to the right and not hitting with the proper loft on it.
Would you say, because I like how you give them like, hey, here's what to expect with the ball flight.
Drive. You're driving the ball. When you're doing this drill, there should be a lot of drive on the ball, lower, and a little bit more of a leftward bias curve.
Okay, so if I'm doing this and the ball's squeaking to the right, I probably don't have the face close enough to the shaft. That'd be the piece that I would be looking to do more. Okay.
Yes.
If I'm hitting behind the ball, I would be doing more of the right arm folding, right wrist bending, turning my shoulders.
Correct.
Moving the low point more forward. All right, let me try one here with those sensations. So I'm kind of locking it in.
Keep going, and do that again. So you see how the divot's like
way forward.
Yeah. Just do a little one, get the divot forward. See how forward that divot was? So here's the red line. That thing was what, about 4 or 5 inches in front of that.
And if I'm hitting irons, I want to get on that side of the spectrum.
Absolutely. You always want to have that low point forward.
Okay. I'm going to do one without a pause.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Just a short one though.
Just a short one. I'm going to lock it in, and I'm going to feel like I do a little bit more in transition. This should be a low driving shot.
Nice.
That felt really good. And again, for short one, this is something we all struggle with. I mean, I hit that 100 yards, right? Maybe 100 some. But that to me felt like I was doing a little chip shot. And I know based on the actual outcome that I must have done it good.
Yep.
I compressed it. The contact was great. I hit in front of the ball.
So it's actually a good point of what you just said. You're really doing, there's 2 things that you're really doing right here. You're controlling the bottom of the swing, getting the contact good. And because we have this face angle close to the shaft, we're controlling the curve. So we're doing 2 fundamentals.
Right.
The contact and the curve. And then all you do, once you master this, you just start adding more power to it.
Yeah.
And you'll start hitting it farther, but you'll still make sure that you're having fundamental 1, the contact, and fundamental 3, the curve still in there.
So if someone's practicing this and the contact's off, look at the loading it right and the arm movements. If the ball's going to the right, face more close to the shaft. And then obviously if we get to the point where I'm hitting it solid and hitting little draws like that, that's probably a good problem.
Just keep adding more power to it.
Okay.
But right now, just for this drill, we're just stopping left arm parallel to the ground.
A lot of people at this point are definitely going to feel like the right wrist is bent back, the glove logo and palm are towards the camera.
You're twisting. You're feeling like you're twisting the shaft.
Because I'm kind of running through the setting it right for the sake of us doing the video.
Yeah.
But like a lot of golfers need to live there for a little while, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, get it set correctly. All right, let me do one more here, Mayor. So I'm going to load it in, and I'm going to feel like I continue it. Right wrist keeps bending back. The butt of the club's forward of the club head.
Yep.
I like that as I start to work through. Make sure my low point's forward.
Divot was in front of that red line.
And to your point too, I'm turning my shoulders with this.
Yes.
Some people go on this and like, well, I'm shanking it. Like you got to turn and get the hand path arcing in as well. Okay, one more, Mayor. Load it correctly, feel a little bit more as I come down. Yeah, it felt great.
A lot of drive.
And I think the other sign of this,
left.
and we could go on for an hour on just this, but like That was an 8-iron I hit, which felt like a little half swing at 50% speed that probably went a buck 20 or 30.
Yeah.
So like in terms of the compression, hitting your irons more solid.
Well, because you're hitting it with less loft.
Exactly.
I mean, this is like the main, for that case that you had mentioned in the beginning. I mean, when you started to do the right arm straightening, the right wrist, unhinging or casting, and when you're hitting with the shaft back and the face open. See how much loft you have?
Right.
So the 8-iron is turning into like a 9 or maybe a pitching wedge, where when you're doing that right there, you're taking the 8-iron, 7-iron, turning it into like a 5-iron. So you're taking all the loft off. So you're barely even swinging and you're popping it out there 2/3 of your power.
So if you struggle, and again, another sign of this, like low point issues, fats and thins, the ball's going too short.
Yeah, a lot of loft, too much backspin.
This is really a good place to do, and what I like about this video a lot is like kind of regardless of where you're at, if you're struggling with those pieces, these are universally good across the board.
Yeah.
Some little micro discussions to talk about, but in general, setting those pieces in is gonna really help you hit your irons more solid. As always, guys, if you have any questions on any of these videos, leave us a comment down below. If you wanna work with Steve and I online, check out cogornogolf.com. If you wanna work with Steve in person, we'll put his info in there, or just send us a message. We'll link you up with Steve. Hit that like button, subscribe, all those things. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you, man. Thanks.
You got it.